We'll get started. I'm Nathan Isaacs from 7G Media and a board member for SEMpdx. If you have a complaint about the program, go talk to someone else. But welcome. We're going to get started, and I want to introduce Francis, who's Bing Ads Global Community Engagement Manager, or a manager with them. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Also today with me I have Anna Hughes, my colleague, and she works at Bing Ads also, and she's in charge of all things local and mobile for the platform. And I work on Bing Ads in Seattle as well, and I'm in the marketing team, and we're delighted to be in Portland, our sister city, to talk to you about mobile. So meandering in and out of sessions all morning, and I was just in Larry Kim and Robert's session, and everybody is talking about mobile. So some of this that we're going to present to you might not be new. You may have already heard it today, but like remarketing, the more times you see it, we're just going to wear you down, and you're just going to believe it and and not forget it. So that's clearly the goal of this whole conference, actually. So you've seen studies like this. This study comes from Millard Brown. And these are the latest numbers. They just released these last week, I think. So we spend 151 minutes a day on our phone. I've definitely spent that on my phone today already. I forgot my tablet, so I did not spend 43 minutes on it yet. PCs and laptops, it's funny how that is decreasing. I mean, we spend more time now on our phones than we do on our laptops. Even considering we're in front of our laptop for 8+ hours a day when we're at work, we're also on our phone, we're also on tablets. And now even TVs, we spend more time on our smartphones than we do watching TV, which is like a first in American society ever, that there's another sort of electronic that we're spending more time with than the TV. So that's been really powerful for mobile. And then the other big thing we want to call out is that with the growth of consoles, and with gaming consoles like PlayStations, Xboxes, Nintendo Wiis, with them becoming more and more part of the Internet of Things and the hub of your living room, more and more time is being spent on those platforms as well, and there's going to be more and more advertising opportunities there. So just wanted to it's actually growing faster than mobile has been growing. So it's important to keep that in the back of your head and start thinking about how you can advertise there as well. So who here is, are most of you work for agencies? Do some of you in-house doing PPC? Are you doing business to customer? Like, are you selling to consumers? Or are you selling to other businesses? B2B? And B2C? Okay. So when we talk about Bing, the one thing I want to point out with, a lot of people are like, oh, I totally get search marketing for B2C because everyone spends time online, and the place they spend the most time is a search engine, whether it's Google or Bing or Yahoo, or if they're going to Ask Jeeves still. But a lot of times people who are in the business-to-business environment world, they're not sure that marketing on a search engine is the place for them. So I always like to introduce this stat. If you're not showing up in the research, most buyers, people who are purchase buyers and the people with the control of the money in the wallet at companies who are buying for other businesses, spend 90% of their time doing online research before they ever make a buying decision. So during that process, and they're doing all the research and they're looking around online, if they're not seeing you, then you're just going to miss out on that, no matter how great your sales team might be, or your sales pitch might be, or if your product is better. And so I just wanted to remind people that are doing B2B, don't forget that your customer, your consumer, even though you think of them as another business, they're also someone who's using the internet and using search engines quite a bit. So this number's been thrown around a lot today. I was following it on Twitter. So someone earlier today said that by this summer, mobile will outpass desktop in searches. And then there's kind of an argument, a debate going on Twitter, whether it would be this summer or the end of the year. Current research from Marin is stating that it'll be 2017. My bet is that it'll be 2016. mobile will start surpassing. So right now it's at like 42% in 2015 so far. So I don't think it'll take 2 years for it to jump past. I think it'll be, maybe not 3 months like someone said earlier this morning, but certainly by the end of this year, I wouldn't be surprised.
And I think too, it's important to just call out that some folks lump tablet and smartphone together and call that mobile. So I think if you're looking at mobile as tablet plus smartphone, the likelihood is that it will surpass. But what we're saying here specifically, when we at Bing talk about mobile, what we're talking about is smartphone. So
Yeah.
just for clarity.
And sort of to back up that data that we're seeing like market-wide, that mobile is increasing, we're seeing that in our own Bing data as well. So year over year, we've seen a double the growth in mobile queries between 2013 and 2014. So it's not just sort of marketplace data. When we go into our data and mine it and look for insights, we're also seeing that as well. Huge jumps. We saw 150% growth year over year. So just massive growth between, these are by quarter, right? So this is 2013 Q3 to last quarter to 2014 Q4. That's the kind of jump we're seeing. It's just massive. And mobile search impressions, or SERPs, are also increasing at the same rate that the clicks are increasing. So it shows that it's not just that more ads are just being shown, the clicks are growing at the same pace. So people are interacting with them and using them. And that's not really surprising, right? Because on your phone, it's such a small marketplace, right? It's a small screen. So when I'm on a search engine page, I might take the time, in the first fold, and maybe even scroll down once and see some of the organic results as well as the paid results. On a phone, you've got to scroll twice to get to organic results. Usually you have 1 or 2 ads, depending on if they have site extensions turned on, and then you have a map, usually, and then you have usually a local listing, and then you have organic listings. No one is scrolling that far down on their phone to find them. So if you're not doing paid search on mobile, no one is seeing your page on, whether they're asking Siri or they're asking Cortana or they're doing a search on Safari, they're just not going to see it. And then mobile conversion rates are increasing. So, we like to see mobile search results increasing, then we like to see the clicks increasing, but none of that really matters if the conversions aren't increasing, or it doesn't matter to you guys if the conversions aren't there as well. So we also wanted to show that we're seeing conversion rates are now, they're at 75% of what the conversion rates we see on PC and laptops are. So it's a high conversion rate. It used to be a lot lower, and you're just not seeing that anymore. So when we talk about mobile conversions, I thought we'd spend just like a little bit of time talking about what are those types of conversions. If anyone has questions as I'm talking, feel free to interrupt me and ask. I don't mind. So you have phone calls, you have purchases, you have people walking into your store, and then do any of you do apps? Are you trying to promote apps for any of your clients? Yeah, so app installs is another metric, particularly for mobile conversion, that we look at now. And so earlier today, actually, was anyone in Larry Kim's presentation? So one of the big things I took out of that presentation was there's no more, like, what you do to optimize your mobile landing page is to train your call center people better. That is what optimizing your mobile landing page is about now. And I 100% agree with him. I think, we all know, and he showed a lot of data in his presentation, and I'm going to show you even more data, that just calls are worth more, that lead is worth more and converts at like a significantly higher rate. So if you have the ability to transfer that lead to a phone call rather than a landing page, take it. So currently, the systems that you have and that you use, they're really set up to measure desktop conversions. And there aren't a lot of great tools at the moment, which again is, you need to think really carefully, what types of conversions, of like the 4 main conversions that you see on mobile, what types can you actually track and measure with the tools that you have? so that you can see if it's worthwhile or not, and be conscious of that, be aware of that. I don't know why, we just wanted to show you this graph again. These tools are gonna have to catch up, right? If I forget who said it, I think it was Bill said it this morning, if we're at 50% by this summer, just for smartphones, the tools are gonna have to catch up as well. So this is going back to Larry's point as well, like calls. This is what converts. 61%, what we see is 61% of people who do a mobile search will click on the call. That's how they convert, if they're given that option. And it's not just the number of mobile searches that are gonna increase year over year, it's the number of calls. I mean, the number of calls that this is gonna drive is huge. So does anyone here work with call center? Yeah, do you work with like a good vendor? I mean, are they ready for the growth? Are they ready for this 65 billion calls? Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be, it's funny because I think a lot of people, like a few years ago, it was like, oh, call centers, whatever, they're dying out, and now it's all about 24-hour chat on your website and all this other type of support, and I see it swinging back again, just because the call lead is always gonna be, and we've always known that, right? Anyone who's worked in sales ever has always known that the call lead is gonna be better. So mobile users, and someone else, I think earlier today, made the joke, like, they're finally gonna start using their phone to make phone calls again. I mean, it's gonna be like this crazy novel idea that I could call someone on this device I carry around. AT&T's they're gonna start charging for minutes again. So this is, again, just some more data on how well calls convert compared to other lead types, whether it's an online form, in-person, email. Calls is just the number one. They're gonna stay there. I don't see them being uprooted anytime soon. App extensions. So this is what also Larry was talking about. You have to use app extensions on mobile. I mean, I think you have to use app extensions on every. Bing, we're like, oh, just turn them on. Turn on any of them, all of them. We'll figure out the best time to show them. They take up so much more real estate. They make your ad look much more credible compared to any other ad that shows up beside it. It's just, to me, it's a no-brainer. When I was working in agencies, it was like the first really quick and dirty thing that we did with especially new customers, because we were like, look at this increase, look at all this great stuff we've been able to do for you, and all we were doing was just enable. And now ad extensions are becoming even more valuable, right? You have enhanced site links. You can get really, enhanced site links are, I'm kind of going off mobile topic, but enhanced site links will come to mobile soon. And enhanced site links are incredible. It's like getting 8 ads in one ad, because you can actually write copy under your site link. So instead of just the copy in your ad, now you're able to write not as much copy as in the headline of the ad, but you're able to write copy under those site links. And it's like a landing page as a search result. It's incredible. And it's not gonna cost you anything. It's gonna increase your conversions. So back to mobile, when you turn on ad extensions on mobile, you just see these massive jumps in conversion as well, and in click-through rate in particular. We've done some studies to see if you mix and match the different ad extensions, what's like the magic number. And really, we found if you put all three, that's what performs best. And not all three are gonna show all the time, right? The algorithm is gonna figure out which one is the best to show or which combination is the best to show, but it makes sure that you're giving all of the options to the customer if they wanna walk and find you, if they wanna call you, if they need to look at something or order something online. Giving them all of those options to do quickly and easily is gonna increase your click-through rate. And it also, like we were talking about before, it means that people click on this first result. So if you don't have ad extensions, the user will shift around a little bit more on the page. So that's what these heat maps are showing. I think is there a laser on here? Yes. So this is an example of a screen that doesn't use ad extensions, or these ads didn't have ad extensions, and it meant that it was a bit more diversified where the customer was clicking. And this is an ad with ad extensions. I mean, almost all of them just went to that one ad rather than kind of hopping all over the place. So it also shows that it's going to be more valuable for you to convert there. We also did a study in Bing to see what types of phone numbers would convert better. And we did find that local numbers convert 3 to 1 better than like a 1-800 toll number. So if you have a big call kind of operation going on, you can usually get tools that'll just, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, generate. That will just generate local numbers for you to match with all your ads. And then you can use those as part of your call tracking as well. But you're better off doing that than having a 1-800 number. So actually, we did tests with that with our own. Has anyone ever called Bing Ads help to help with your campaigns? No. If you need help with your Bing Ad campaigns and you need to call them, we actually did studies. So we have a 1-800 number, and then we also have a 188 number, and then we have a 206, which is a Seattle local number. And we found that the 206 number just outperformed the others. In the Seattle region anyways, people felt like, oh, I'm calling a real person, right? I know 206, that's my area code. And so it makes a huge difference. So optimizing for mobile conversions. So we did a study, actually we did the study with Larry Kim from WordStream, and we looked at how do you optimize your local paid search campaigns and your mobile paid search campaigns, and are they really just the same thing? And what we found out is they're really just the same thing. So you don't need to have multiple campaigns, one for this, one for that. Your mobile and your local campaign are really going to be tied together and be almost the same. So we talked about this, size matters on your screen. The bidding and doing dynamic bids to get that #1 result on your mobile ad is worth it because that's just what people are going to see. And then when you add your ad extensions to that, it's probably the only ad they're going to see on their phone, on the real estate of the phone. And so that means that if you are going to do dynamic keyword bidding and you're going to bid up when it's the right person that's searching, you really want to make sure you're focused on the right keywords. So I know that next door, we just talked about keywords being dead, but they still matter. So you really want to put your budget on the keywords that are going to perform best for you, so you can really get that #1 spot. Mobile means now, so be aware when you're setting up your campaigns that you're really selecting the right time, the right day. So when I was working in an agency, we had a restaurant that was only open for dinner, and they had ads running all day long. I was like, well, that's just a waste of money. You're going to run out of money by noon, and then when someone is searching for a happy hour at 3:30, which most of us are going to start doing in about 30 minutes, well, we know it's upstairs, so maybe we won't do a search, but you're wasting your money. And so particularly with mobile, because people are going to click and people are going to call and they're going to take action right then and there, make sure you're only showing the ad the time and day that serves best. I don't know if we've talked about call extensions like this whole day ever yet. You have to turn them on. So there are a couple ways you can do call extensions. It can be the ad extension that you turn on. You can do click to call. I know that Google just released a new mobile call only campaign type. We don't have that yet. Yes, we do.
Actually, call extensions or click to call actually only shows on mobile. So we already have that. So we were actually ahead. And we didn't know it, but we actually do support. Our click to call product only shows on mobile devices. So if you want to have a call only campaign, then enable those with click to call, and you got it.
The call extensions, also if you turn on call extensions for your campaign, and some of your ads are desktop ads as well as mobile ads, if they are a Skype user, then it'll pop up as a Skype number that they can just click and call right away from their desktop as well, which is kind of cool. and makes it a live number. So we haven't talked a lot about location, but location extensions are the other ad extensions that you really want to take advantage of. You know, I assume that, who here is not from Portland? Okay, so have you, in the like 2 days that you've been here, have you done a search for something that you need to walk to? Stumptown, maybe? My train got canceled coming down from Seattle, so they put us on buses. And I had this awesome idea that I would paint my nails on the bus because you're sitting there for 3 hours, and obviously it was a disaster, and I never should have done it. And so as soon as I got here, I had to do a search for like a nail place to fix me so that I would be presentable today. But and I was like looking at my phone while doing the search and like while walking, watching the dot to see if I'm going the right way. So most of us do that. So making sure that you have that enabled if you have a storefront that you want people to walk to. Also for the SEOers in the room, I started an SEO and then ended up in paid, but even if we would put location extensions on everything and sign up for every local listing site out there, we used Moz's local tool to do that, even if it wasn't a storefront, if it was the factory address, because it's awesome SEO. So even if you don't have a storefront, you should be doing it for SEO, so you might as well just do it in your paid search ads as well. Simple is better. So a lot of us spend a lot of time, and Larry talked about this as well, that unicorn ad. How do you write that amazing text that's just going to jump out and stand out from the rest of them? And we spend a lot of time being super creative, a little snarky maybe, a little sarcastic, being very like pop culture relevant, and making sure that our text ads stand out amongst everyone else they're with. And you do need to do that for mobile, but I would say the more important thing to focus on for mobile is to be short, the call to action, super succinct, and then get out of the way and let them, click the call button and call you. So don't worry so much about the creativity of the ad text on your mobile campaigns. Just really make sure that they're short, simple, to the point, and someone knows exactly what you want or what you sell or what you do, and can choose their action from there. So we just launched a whole new suite of geo-targeting features in Bing ads. So you can go down, you can obviously do by state, country, city, zip code. You can go down into like neighborhoods now, and down up to like a kilometer or a mile radius. And you can also do some good geo-targeting where you can exclude certain areas even if they fall within your radius. So in Seattle, we have like the east side neighborhoods that are one side of the water, one side of Lake Washington, and we have downtown Seattle on the other side. And we have 2 floating bridges to get across to our east side neighborhoods, and one of them is tolled and one of them is non-toll. So if you are if you're a plumber and you have ads, or you're like if you fix smashed windscreens or something like that, and people are searching and needing you to come to them right away, you don't really want to if you're based in Seattle, you don't want to have to go on the toll bridge, because then the cost of that lead increases by $4.80 or $5.80, whatever the toll is at the time of day. So you only want to go on the I-90 bridge, which is certain neighborhoods, right, that you wouldn't bother going to if you had to hit the toll bridge. And so this new feature allows you to say, yeah, well, I want it within 20 miles, but I don't want this neighborhood that you can really only get to from the toll bridge. I want to skip that neighborhood and focus on the free bridge neighborhoods, because I got to keep my cost per lead down. And so there are some interesting ways that you can, clicking backwards, that you can get creative with your geo-targeting. And then one of the last things I want to talk to you about is if you are in retail or you're selling items. We did a big study on how, if you actually are sending them to a landing page and not a call center, how to increase your conversion on that landing page. And we found that offering a coupon or offering a deal was the best way to do it. And it increased conversion rates significantly. And a lot of people who are doing mobile searches are specifically looking for a deal as well. So if your ad is able to tell them that and then deliver on it, they're going to convert at a much higher rate. And so this is something you can run, when you're going to have a sale, or you can set up for customers, post-holidays to get rid of, all the Valentine stuff, because now they're getting ready for St. Patrick's Day and then all of that stuff, and now they're getting ready for Mother's Day. So you can do it cyclically. depending on the seasonality. Or you can just say, you know what, if we have someone who's a mobile customer, so we assume that they're close and they're gonna convert, I don't care what time of day it is or what time of the year it is, I'm gonna give them 5% off, or I'm gonna give them always a 10% off, because I just know it's gonna close the deal, and I know that they're, you know, a higher potential lead than somebody who does the desktop search, and then I'm not probably gonna give them the coupon. So be creative with that as well. It's another great way to close that deal once the lead is interested. So that's what I want to talk to you about, is just reinforcing what everyone else has talked about today, is that mobile is you know, everyone used to say back in the SEO world anyway, everyone would say content is king, and now there's massive debates about whether that's true or not. I think in PPC we can confidently say that mobile is king, at least it's king for 2015, right? And probably into 2016. So if you're not optimizing for mobile yet, I would really suggest taking the time to do that, because it'll pay off amazing dividends. And Anna is going to give you some examples on how you can actually do that in your campaigns.
Thank you. I'm going to stand on this side and just see if that changes anything for anybody other than the cameraman at the back who's busy swiveling. Okay, so how many of you recall that back in September or October of last year, we rolled out the first phase of what we're calling unified device targeting? Where we combined, yeah, right? So we combined PC and tablet device targeting together. Well, starting on March 23rd, we'll also be rolling mobile into that device targeting. So how many of you here think that this is just a big opportunity for Bing to make more money? That's why we're doing it. It's okay, you can't hurt my feelings. Marianne knows. You can't hurt my feelings. So if you think that, you can go and raise your hands. So that's what everybody said when Google did their enhanced campaigns, and as everyone here I'm sure recalls, there was all sorts of brouhaha, and everybody thought, oh my God, the sky's falling, they're taking away all of our controls. And now 2 years later, what we're learning from advertisers is actually the sky did not fall. And, you know, perhaps it was a bit of a draconian way of getting advertisers into the mobile space. It turns out that actually it was a good thing, right? And so now what we hear from advertisers is that, hey, you know what, I'm flipping back and forth between AdWords and Bing ads, and frankly, we understand that we're not the market leader. If we're lucky, you're spending 30% of your time on Bing ads campaigns. So what people have asked us over and over again is, can you just sort of make it work the way that the big guy works? Because trying to figure out how to manage my enhanced campaigns over here with all my bid adjustments and whatnot, and then import to Bing ads and try and figure out how to replicate that is painful. So our goal really is to, first of all, make things less complicated. So we're working on, you know, making the options more simple. And then secondly, reducing friction sort of in the ecosystem, because we recognize that you guys are moving back and forth, and we want to make it as easy as possible for you for the 5 minutes that you spend on your, just kidding, hopefully more than that, campaigns, to make it easy for you to do that. And then, but we also recognize, and we've heard lots of advertisers say, but you know what, honestly, tablet performs differently than PC, so please give us some control there, so we have enabled that for you. Okay, so if today you have PC tablet only campaigns, what's going to happen on March 23rd is, anybody shout it out for a $10 Starbucks card? Very good, big winner. And then for my follow-up question, what's going to happen if you have a smartphone only campaign? Come on, shout it out. Yes, very good. Who yelled it out? Way in the back. Thank you. All right, so let's take an example just in case any of this is not abundantly clear. Here are our friends at Contoso Floral who today have 2 separate campaigns targeting the keyword roses. One is set up for mobile only, one's set up for for mobile only, and one's set up for PC tablet only, okay? So here we have it. Both good ads, both have reasonable bids associated with them. Okay, so March 23rd comes around. Here we go. Campaign number 1, which used to target mobile, now targets all devices, 75 cents, no bid adjustment, because that's the way their mobile campaign was set up. We're not going to change your bids. We're not going to change your bid adjustments. Now, oops, we go backwards in time. Campaign number 2, which was formerly targeting PC tablet. We've now added mobile. So now what has happened is that we have 2 campaigns for this advertiser who are targeting the same keyword with 2 different bids, 2 different adjustments, quality scores, et cetera. So we don't want this to happen. This is a bad outcome. It's not only because you're going to wind up with clutter in your campaigns, it's going to be harder to manage. You could actually wind up bidding against yourself in this scenario. So we don't like that. We really don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to talk to you about are some ways to prepare for this device targeting and hopefully help avoid some of these scenarios. Does anybody here have separate PC or tablet campaigns, separate mobile? Yeah, okay. You're one of a very, very select few, my friend. In fact, only about 10% of our customer base actually has separate campaigns. But for those of you, my suspicion is that those who do have separate campaigns are probably our more vocal and probably more engaged customers, so we want to make sure that, that you're aware of this and know what to do. So just revisiting this notion of phone call or mobile and what does mobile do for me. Before we really start talking about optimizing for unified device targeting, just wanted to sort of reiterate the point that as you're going through this optimization process, hopefully it's not just sort of, I'm going to squash together my campaigns. It's actually really taking the time to think about what are the conversion actions that I want on my different screens, right? So if I'm, let's say I'm the law offices of Anna Hughes, I want a phone call, right? So I'm going to optimize my mobile campaigns for that, right? If I'm a local store, I want you to come visit me, right? So I'm going to optimize for that on my mobile devices, and then on my PC tablet campaigns, I might want to optimize for some other things. So it's important to think about the screen and sort of the user context as we're doing our optimizations. All right, so I'm going by the old adage of tell them what you're going to tell them, tell it to them. Tell them what you told them. So these are the 5 things that we're going to talk about, which I've sort of tried to classify into the categories of top of the class. So this is all about sort of thinking through how to combine campaigns if you need to do that, cleaning house, getting ready, making sure that your campaigns are ready and ready to go on March 23rd, bidding, and then how to continue to appeal to that mobile customer by telling the mobile customer that you're mobile friendly, and then how do you tell Bing that you're mobile friendly? All right, top of the class. So this is actually kind of simple. It's like boost the winners, dump the losers. So as you're going through and you're thinking about, okay, I may need to restructure some campaigns here, I may need to rethink how I'm applying bid adjustments or whatever, you might want to consider, if you guys haven't already, things like top performer campaigns. You guys have top performer campaigns, right? So those are campaigns that you might consider a more aggressive bidding strategy for. One thing I do want to caution, though, because I also have an agency background, is that sometimes our clients would sort of push us into what I would call an optimization hole. Has anybody ever been into the optimization hole? Yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Which is like, this thing just works and works and works and works, and it just becomes incredibly difficult to innovate because you have something that works, right? So what I would encourage you to do is to do some champion challenger campaigns. Have you guys do this? Do some A/B testing, right? So take some of your better performing campaigns and then run them up against some others. The trick here, though, is you got to make sure you get enough of an impression volume to actually have a good read on what's happening. But try some different, especially if you're thinking about mobile again, or maybe thinking about it for the first time, think about how you might change up your ad copy to appeal more to a mobile customer. All right, clean house. Okay, so why is this important? It's important because these marketplaces, the auctions, for the keywords are going to now become more crowded. So you're going to be competing against more folks for those 2 spots at the top of the page. So it's really important that you take a little bit of time as you're thinking about this migration to just do some house cleaning. If you've got editorial issues, go fix them. If you need to up your bids here and there, do it. And this is the most important thing of all time, is make sure that you are thinking through how you're structuring your campaigns. How many of us have been into a mess because our campaigns were not organized very well? Yeah, it's not fun. So just take some time and really think about, for instance, here are our friends again at Contoso Floral. They have here's their customer ID. This is sort of at the top level, right? Here at the account level is where they're doing things like saying, here's my currency and time zone, all that kind of good stuff. And then getting down, for our friends at Contoso, they have separate accounts set up for their bridal and Mother's Day. Let's just pretend. And then they have campaigns that are going for Mother's Day about bouquets and last-minute shoppers. How many of us buy our stuff for Mom way in advance? Probably not me. Not me either. So they realize that, okay, lots of people are out there shopping for Mother's Day presents at the last moment, so I'm going to set up some keywords. I'm going to set some ads up against keywords associated with last-minute people who are just on their way to Mom's house and want to stop by and pick up a bouquet, right? So what you want to think about, one thing to think about as you are setting all of this up, or maybe sort of rethinking or restructuring a bit, is what are the reports that I want to get at the end of this? What I want to know at the end of my Mother's Day campaign is, how did those campaigns work? In particular, I want to know if my last-minute campaign actually drove sales, right? So in order to do that, I have to set up my campaigns in advance to give me the reports that I want, right? So not to belabor the point, but this is incredibly important for things like bid adjustments, because you're applying bid adjustments potentially at the campaign and the ad group level. So you want to make sure that you understand how that sort of stacking of those bid adjustments can work with targeting. So this is an area I'd really encourage folks to pay some attention to and spend some time on. All right, bidding wisely. Okay, so I get lots of questions about, okay, well, so how do I, where should I start with this bidding thing? So as Francis mentioned earlier, we now have smartphone conversions who are approaching the same rate as PC and tablet. People are starting to become more comfortable with mobile commerce, buying things from their phones. So that's good news. But for the moment, at least, CPCs on mobile devices, smartphones, are about 30% less in the Bing network than PC. So one way to think about this might be to say, if I'm bidding $1 for a click, I'm willing to pay $1 for a click on my PC campaign, maybe start with a minus 30% bid adjustment for your mobile. That might be a place to start, get some learnings, and then over time continue to increase until you get sort of to your ROI point that you want to be at. Okay. Also remember that we're going to start sending you more traffic now with more exposure for your ads across all these different device types, right? So make sure that you have enough budget. Francis talked about the restaurant who ran out of budget by noon, and then they didn't have any money left at 3 o'clock when people are searching for happy hour. So make sure that you're using things like Campaign Planner to go in and estimate, or the bid estimator tools to make sure that you're estimating how much additional traffic you're going to get at the different bid levels, and that you have enough budget to cover, or that you're applying things like day parting, so that you're there, your ads are there at the time of day when folks are most likely to search for your business. And this is actually what the interface will look like after the migration. It's pretty simple. How do you do that cool laser thing? Oops. Okay. Yeah. So instead of here where it used to, you had a drop down that said, show me all the different OSs and whatnot. Now, basically, your desktop bid is your bid, and you're just applying adjustments against it. This is one thing I do want to call out. This is actually not a change, but I think it's something that people were surprised by, so I just thought I'd throw it out there. You, in this spot right here where it says smartphone bid, and then this is the adjustment, the box where you can enter your amount. You can enter -100, or you can enter -90 to +300. We don't know why. This is the way Google does it. We don't know why. But we thought, well, advertisers said they want it to be the same, so we'll make it the same. Do people know that? It's weird, huh? It's totally weird. But anyway, that's just a little thing. So if you try and enter 92% bid adjustment for mobile, it'll come back and give you an error message. So just be aware of that.
I think something else here, which you haven't had options on your AdWords campaign to do bid modifying or bid adjustments for tablet. You can call that out here if you've done research, you know your tablet consumers are behaving differently and you want a different type of campaign or different type of ad to show to them, you can bid it up, bid it down. Same as you do for mobile.
That is right. All right.
Okay, ready? Okay, Marianne says she's ready, so I'm ready. All right, so then, do you guys remember how many ads do we show typically on a mobile screen? Like 2 at the top, right? So it's really important to be in that top, in one of those top 2 spots. So as you're looking at your campaigns, we don't, I guess we would love it if you just went in and doubled all your bids. That would be great, I suppose. You might not be very happy, but we would be. So here, as you're looking at your campaigns and deciding where to apply these bid adjustments and whatnot, be wise about it. So here we see that these campaigns, 1, 2, and 3, they're doing all right. They're getting decent clicks and impressions, lovely click-through rate here, and they're right where they want to be, like in positions 1 and 2. Unfortunately, this group right here is falling sort of into that 2 to 3 range. And so are not getting the impressions or and obviously the clicks because they're not being shown, right? So, for example, here, this guy got 41 impressions, but look at that, 2.4% click-through rate, 1 click. That's good. So maybe we want to bid up and test to see if this might be one of our future winners. And then down here, we have ads that just aren't showing up. So make sure that you're looking, as you're going through and you're thinking through your bid adjustments and your bidding strategy, that you're also including thinking about this average position. And then when you're pulling reports, make sure that you're adding this device breakout. That's an additional column that you can add in Bing Ads when you're doing your reporting. So make sure that you're looking at your device type reports. And by the way, those reports will remain even after the migration. So we're not changing any of the visibility into things like devices or like where your clicks and stuff are coming from. Okay, so tell people that you're mobile first. How many of us here have like clicked through on something and gone to a mobile website and it was a super crappy experience? Yeah. And we're smart, right? So we do it once and we're like, oh, that sucked. And then we do it again and we're like, wow, that still sucked. Then we do it a third time and we're like, okay, forget it. Next time I'm just tapping the click to call button because I just can't deal with these crappy websites, right? So if you are the few, the proud who have, or maybe all of you, I hope all of you and all of your clients have lovely mobile experiences, call it out. And personally, when I see that somebody has in their, they have an MDOT website, I'm 1,000 times more likely to click on it. But do things like invest in these keywords. So as you're thinking through, like, what am I going to do with my campaign structure as I'm optimizing, think about adding in terms like mobile or smartphone into your keyword portfolio and see if it doesn't make a difference in terms of how many people actually click through on their mobile devices. If you have an MDOT URL, also feature it. That's another clue to searchers that, okay, this is going to be a good experience. Using mobile and locations in your actual ad copy is another great way to give people clues that this is going to be a good experience, right? So instead of just saying, oh, here's my pizza restaurant, say here's my local neighborhood pizza restaurant. So I know that when I click, I'm going to be taken somewhere that's close to me or is in the neighborhood that I'm looking for. So these are all, and then whoops, the more obvious stuff is, make sure that you're using all the right mobile-friendly extensions. Make sure that you're doing location extensions. Make sure you're doing click-to-call. All of those good things. Okay. All right. And then, of course, now that we've talked ad nauseum about mobile, and you've all got these great experiences, so I'm sure that because all of you have these wonderful mobile experiences for you and all of your clients and friends, you know this already, that if you have a fabulous mobile experience, you get almost 2.5% or 2.5 times more conversions from a mobile optimized site versus not. And double the average order value. Like, just take a minute to let that sink in. That's huge, right? I mean, that is even if all you do for your clients is say, let's create a landing page. It doesn't have to be a whole mobile optimized website, but a landing page that, with big thumb-friendly buttons. My favorite sort of rule of thumb is try and, I know, sorry, it's late in the day. Just try navigating your mobile site using only your thumbs. And if you can't navigate it with only your thumbs, or you can't get around this landing page with only your thumbs, you've got some optimization work you need to do, right? Like trying to fill out one of those tiny little forms, and I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I did just have to buy my first pair of reading glasses, which is really disgusting, and partly because I can't see the damn screen. It's tiny. It got tinier on me. My arms got too short, so I had to buy reading glasses. So don't make me have to get out my reading glasses. It's embarrassing. All right. State Farm is super happy with their responsive design. I will make one tiny plug for responsive design. From an SEO perspective, if you have two separate sites, let's say you have your MDOT site or you have your mobile landing page, you're not getting the same good SEO juice out of having those two separate sites, right? Because as far as Bing is concerned, they're completely separate website from each other, right? So your desktop is being rated for SEO, your mobile site is being rated for SEO, you're not getting any benefit across, right? So from our perspective, we would love it if everybody in the world just went out and built a responsive design site. From an SEO perspective, from just a user experience perspective. Having said that, there are good reasons not to sometimes. You might want to have a very explicit experience for an iPad or something, for which you go build something special. But this is our little plug for responsive design, because you're going to get a lot more SEO juice out of it. Okay, so mobile preferred. All right, so we're taking away your control. We're not letting you do mobile campaigns anymore. I know it's terrible, and I'm sorry. But we are still allowing you to do things like having device preference. So here's what you can do. Let's say that you still want to have your mobile-only campaigns, right? So set up those campaigns. Make sure that you've checked your device preference to indicate that this is an ad that is optimized for mobile. What'll happen is that when Bing sees somebody typing in their search on their smartphone, whatever the device is that they're using, Bing says, oh, okay, this is somebody who's searching from a smartphone. This ad in this campaign targeted to this keyword says it's mobile preferred. I will serve that ad and not the ad that is not mobile preferred. Was that clear as mud? So use mobile preferred as a signal to Bing. And assuming that that all other things being equal, you've won the auction, et cetera, et cetera. Bing will serve your mobile preferred ad on a mobile device and not on PC tablet. Okay? Also, how many of you knew that, oops, oh, I took that slide out. How many of you knew that you can also set up mobile preferred site links? So that's another good thing to do, right? So we talked some about keeping things short and sweet for mobile. I actually, I don't know that we're ever going to launch enhanced site links on mobile, sorry, because of the tiny, tiny space again. And what we find, part of the reason for this is that we find that when you have a mobile optimized site link, which is short, really short, like 25 characters, and explicit, you're much more likely to drive the click. So think about things like if there's specific sections of your site that you really want mobile searchers to find, use those in your site links and be short about it. 25 characters, that's not very many. If you use that as a rule of thumb, say 20 even, then you'll really force yourself to be really crisp about what you're asking people to do. And hey, that might translate over to your PC campaigns, which is also a goodness. Anything else here that I should talk about? Here's the place where if you had an M.dot campaign or an M.dot site, you'd want to enter it here for your mobile preferred campaign. And then the other thing that's really, really important is now you've got your beautiful mobile landing page or your mobile website or your responsive design or whatever it is that you've done. You want to make sure that people are going to the right place. So this is another really important optimization to make, which is using query strings, query string parameters in your destination URLs. Are people using these now? The if mobile, if not mobile? Right, so what happens is, let's say that, again, Bing sees that you're browsing from your iPhone or whatever, and says, oh, hey, this is an iPhone user. When they click, I want to be sure and take them to the mobile landing page. So this is how you tell Bing what landing page you want to send people to. So there's lots of good reference material on the Bing Ads site if you're interested in doing this. Basically, it just means inserting a little this little query string, if mobile, if not mobile, into your destination URL, and Bing will do the rest of the work for you. Okay, so Mother's Day is coming. So how does all of this relate to Mother's Day? Well, the reason it relates to Mother's Day is that over the years, we have gathered lots of data about how people shop for Mother's Day gifts. And we actually have a whole series of insights, we call them seasonal events, around different kinds of holidays, things like, obviously the big one is the Christmas holiday, Black Friday, all that kind of stuff. We have lots and lots of research and insights about that on our website. But we also put out these seasonal decks that talk about things like Mother's Day, Super Bowl, like what's happening, what are people shopping for, on what device, what queries are they using. So I would encourage you to go check those out on our website. And since Mother's Day is coming, I wanted to just take a minute to walk you through a few of the insights and just show you how all of this kind of comes together in an actual sort of campaign, right? So does anybody have customers, clients, their own businesses getting ready for Mother's Day? You're starting to think about this, right? So it's fascinating that people search for different kinds of things from different devices, right? So here we see that the percent of searches for things like jewelry from PC and tablet, much lower than from mobile. Not sure why that would be. Cards and gifts, higher on mobile. That seems to make sense. I'm out, I'm doing something last minute. I'll just stop by and get a card, and flowers. Also, higher percentage of people doing queries around in the Mother's Day time frame for those kinds of items. So as you are optimizing your campaigns, Another tip might be to look at what are your seasonal trends, what are people clicking on, and then think about ways to maybe layer in some new tests around these seasonal events to see if you can move the needle from last year. And so this is what it looks like for us on the back end as we're looking at these queries that tend to be related to Mother's Day, is that, for instance, here, just 2 weeks before Mother's Day last year, we had tons of spending going on here, not very many clicks, right? Over here, people are starting to back off on their spending, I guess assuming that either people have bought their gifts or they're not yet in last minute mode. But look at this, look at the click-through rate, right? So the point here being that you really want to, A, be sure that you're there when people are searching, and B, you want to kind of make sure that you're looking at your own campaign data to say, is this the same or different, right? And these little pockets of efficiency are gold in our pockets, right? I mean, this is just an amazing insight that we have here, what would equate to, for an advertiser, a lower CPC and a higher click-through rate. That's awesome, right? So be sure that you're sort of testing on different devices at different, sort of stages as you're getting closer to these events. And as I said, you can either visit our site or this stuff is actually available on SlideShare as well. And then the sort of this last week before Mother's Day, we have lots of last-minute shoppers. So make sure that when you know that folks are going to be sort of in this last-minute shopping mode, that's an opportunity for you to maybe increase your budgets on those mobile campaigns, shift some budget over from your PC tablet, increase your bid adjustments, make sure that you're showing up when people are searching in that last-minute mode. Because you also know that those are people who are really actually going to buy. Like, they're in their car, on their way to their mother's house, they need a gift, so make sure that you're there. Okay, and then what I think is also super fascinating to me anyway is looking at what do people respond to. So this is what we do when we do these seasonal insight kinds of analyses is we go and look at what kinds of combinations of descriptions and ad copy work best. And I always think it's really fascinating how different these are. So over here we have Mother's Day, and then in the description we have some sort of dynamic text inserted, right? And that's what works well for PC tablet. But over here, this dynamic keyword insertion, which probably is something like a product plus pricing, works better for mobile. So think about what's the consumer scenario here, right? A lot of times what we see through research is that the reason that people are making phone calls to businesses is to find out if they have a product in stock, right? So this is part of the reason that product ads and product listing ads work so well, is that consumers want to know if you have this exact product in stock right now for me to come and buy. So this is a great combination for driving that mobile searcher. They know, okay, you've got the product I want at the price I like, I'm in my car, I'm on my way. And we actually find in Bing ads that mobile conversions happen within about 5 hours of a search, whereas on a PC tablet, that same search might generate a conversion over a period of weeks, right? So there's a huge amount of urgency around mobile. People are using mobile during the shop and research process, but where we really see a lot of the conversions happening is sort of in that last 5 hours. Like, I'm making my final decision and I'm going to buy my product. Over here, by contrast, we have for jewelry, and I suppose this must be a diamond. Interestingly, we have here we have our dynamic keyword insertion. People looking for specific products. They want it cheap and affordable. They want some particular gemstone, but we don't really see that dynamic keyword insertion in the top for titles on mobile devices. So again, this just points to the notion that we have to constantly be testing and learning, right? And every day is a whole new day, as you all know, in the search engine marketing world. So what works here on our PC tablet doesn't necessarily work over here on mobile. So so constantly we have to be thinking about what is it that my shopper is trying to do right now on this tiny little screen or on this bigger screen, and how do I optimize for that? So for some reason here, we have home decor. So this is for stuff like home and garden. This is another big category for Mother's Day. So the big categories are flowers, like cards, consumer electronics are huge now for Mother's Day. That moms are saying, I need something to help me, organize my life. And then home and garden is another huge category. So over here we have home decor savings, which really means furniture. So my sort of unscientific analysis of this is that you have people, this is actually a very common scenario, you have people who are looking on their PC and tablet and trying to find the exact item that they want to buy for mom, right? And they search for home decor over here. And then once they sort of decided what they want and they're ready to get in the car and go buy it, they look it up on their smartphone to find out if you indeed have that particular item in your store, right? So this is a great example of how people are shifting across devices, right? So they start over here where they have a great big screen and they can really zoom in and see the rattan on this beautiful lawn chair thing. But over here, it's down to business. I want to know, do you have the product in stock? Do you have it at the right price? And I'm on my way to come buy it, right? So, so these are the kinds of things that I think, as you start testing and you start building up your own corpus of data behind your different seasonal campaigns, that will really help inform planning for next year, right? And so if we think actually back to that whole campaign structure thing we talked about and reporting, this is the kind of stuff this is why it's so important, is because at the end of the day, what you want to be able to go to your client, you want to be a genius for your client and be like, well, hey, what I'm noticing is that people over here are searching for stuff on their big screen and then they're converting on their little screen or their, whatever the equivalent is for your business, right? But you have to make sure that your campaigns are set up in a way so you get the reports and the insights that you need, right? Consumer electronics, similar kinds of things. Turns out, again, branded products, this is really important in consumer electronics. Like, as we all know, I'm not just out to buy a tablet, I'm out to buy a Surface. I'm not out to buy a smartphone, I'm out to buy an iPhone. Because, hey, who knew that Bing is the default search engine for Siri? Who knew that? Thank you very much. You get a Starbucks card. In fact, did you guys know that 70% of our query share comes from iOS devices? Did you guys know that? Thank you. Yes, very interesting indeed.
So if you're not if you're only on AdWords, you're not advertising on Bing Ads, you're not hitting the iOS mobile market. Unless they're searching on like Google app on their iPhone, but Siri and also Spotlight on your Mac, that's powered by Bing. All the Amazon products are powered by Bing, Kindles, Kindle Fire.
Just saying.
Yeah, the Amazon phone, that's no longer really a thing, but it's all powered by Bing Ads.
That's right. All right. Now it's time for your questions.
Can you go back
Wait.
one slide? I want to make one quick comment. So these, so when we have a whole team at Bing Ads of data scientists who basically go in behind the scenes and they look at all of the search queries, all of the different ads that are getting impressions, and they start to pull out all of these insights for us. And these are pulled from a larger table that they put together, and we create these heat maps. And we put them in all of our decks on SlideShare. So if you just go to our SlideShare account and search either like the vertical that you work in or the season or the holiday that you're interested in, you'll find these presentations there, and they will all include these heat maps, which are just like a table, a grid, and it'll show down the left side keywords in the title, and it shows along the top keyword or words and text in the description, and then it colors them red, yellow, green. And so it'll show you this word and this title matched with this word and this description is green. This is what's going to get the higher impression and the better click-through rate. But then one square over, that same word in the title, but a different word in the description might be red. And so we create those for all, whether you're selling consumer electronics, whether you work in finance, whether you work in legal, and then we do it across holidays as well. So you can see, you can almost use it like a cheat sheet against your own ad titles and descriptions and say, wow, I have like 20 that are showing up red. If I just changed it over a little bit or changed this one word in the title to this type of word, I could really improve the performance. So our data research scientists have done all that work already, so you can just take it and use it as a cheat sheet and check yourself against it and see if it's see if you're getting the best results that you possibly can. And then that's all the content that we have. But we have lots of time for questions, and we're happy to take questions about just Bing ads as well. If you have like a Bing ads question, yeah. So, you got it. I'll talk in this mic.
Thank you. So, with the move to unified device targeting, in particular with bid modifiers, is there anything incorporated presently, or is there anything you plan on possibly incorporating in the future that might have device-specific bid estimations, or even with that, perhaps a modifier based on your current bid at the keyword level?
All right, so let me see if I can break this question down. So the first question was, do we have device-specific bid estimation tools, traffic estimation tools, right?
Yeah, traffic and bid, yeah.
Yeah, so we do have that today. That's available. So you can, I don't know, I'm not entirely sure, it's the traffic estimator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you can just cut that by what device you want to see. And you put in your bid, and it'll come back and it'll say, based on this, or you could even say things like, I want to bid for mainline, or I want to bid for right rail, or I want to bid for, best available. And it'll give you different bid suggestions, and then it'll give you an estimation of what the traffic is that you'd get for that bid.
Fantastic. That's good to know. Since I have the mic real quick, I got one more question, and then
All right.
walk it up to you guys. But with the if mobile, oh, hi, totally.
You're
didn't see
taking
that.
your job.
This is a union shop, my friend. We do not tolerate that kind of thing.
Sorry, I'm a very do-it-yourself type of person. No, my other question is just with the if mobile, if not mobile parameters. I'm assuming that'll work in conjunction with Param 1.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
That's right.
Cool.
Yep.
We have a Starbucks card. Brave soul who asked the first question. I don't know if I can throw that far. I tried throwing it to that dude and I didn't get that far. You just come grab it from me.
Who's
Okay.
next?
Next question.
Yes.
On an earlier session with Larry and David went into the whole speech about keywords being dead. Or at least that's his impression from Google. What do you think? How would you react to that? What do you think about it from the Bing perspective? Is it a new opportunity? Is it a interesting development there? Or?
So we have our own sort of concept of the semantic web. We have Bing entities. So today, if you search on something like Katy Perry, right, in our database, Katy Perry is an entity, and there are properties associated with Katy Perry, right? So as we get a better and better corpus of data about companies or businesses, we're building out entities associated with businesses as well. So we're sort of evolving in that similar direction, less dependent on a keyword and more about the semantics and the context around a particular keyword. So keywords still matter a lot. But this is just sort of the way that the web is really evolving.
Yeah, that's a difference.
Yeah.
I had a question about click to call, and if I have people manning the phones only during office hours, is there a way of either scheduling it or even and possibly having normal office hours? It'll go. I give them the option of clicking to call, and then after office hours end, then it just goes to the website. or even as, with holidays potentially jumping in there too, is there a way of even manually saying, yes, there's somebody here to answer your call, and then they go on lunch, and then we turn it off, which would be really customized, but that's my question.
So we do not have scheduling for extensions right now. That is on our roadmap. But what you can do still is say, here's my sort of group of keywords that are targeted to a certain time of day, associated click to call to that, and then do your do your day parting for that campaign.
Hi, so I have two questions actually. If I'm taking too much time, let me know. But the heat maps, you said they're by segment, right? Is there a way to like request a specific segment from you guys and have you give it to us?
You can tweet me, and I can put in a good word. There isn't a way to kind of reach out to that team in particular. We tend to include them in every big like body of research that we do, whether it's for a holiday or a season or a one-off event. We'll include a heat map, and then we also include insights on particular verticals, and we will break it down to L2 verticals as well. So retail, but then break it down into jewelry, clothing, shoes, et cetera, and we will have heat maps for each of those. But if you had like a more nuanced section, I mean, I can put in a good word for it, but there isn't like a request form page.
Okay, cool.
I think they would kill me if I gave out their email address.
Are they all like available online in one source, or is it just kind of like you have to hunt them down in each?
They're all on
slide deck?
SlideShare.
Okay.
They're all on our website as well. If you go to the Bing Ads website, there's an Insights tab menu option, and you can scroll through by category there, or you can go to SlideShare and just do a search within SlideShare and it'll pull up. There's a lot of the times they'll call them choose your words. So if you just do like Bing, SlideShare, choose your words, they'll all pop up too. But we include them in all of the big, like we just put we didn't. Valentine's Day just happened, but we had them in our Valentine's Day research deck as well.
Gotcha, cool. My second question.
We got one more question over here.
Yeah, sorry. I can actually ask this afterwards.
Yeah, okay.
Hi there. So we're all on the Yahoo sales team. So one of my biggest asks from advertisers is to get estimations or data at a local level.
Okay.
So like this is great what you're doing for Mother's Day or Valentine's Day, et cetera, but they want to see that at a local level. Are there plans for that?
We do that for our customers. So I think as people know, Yahoo and Bing are Bing supports all the search behind Yahoo, and then we share the customers. So we have reports that will pull that local data for you, and we have insight, what we call, their titles are insights managers, and they'll go in and say, okay, well, in LA County.
Can we get that in the UI though, so that I can go in and pull, I'm a plumber in Portland, what is an estimated volume gonna be?
You can do that now. There are two tools in the UI that'll help you do that. One is the campaign planner, which is new of like maybe a month or two. And the campaign planner will show you not only area and type of business, but it'll also show you competitive benchmarks as well. And then also the insights, if you use Bing Ads Intelligence tool in Excel, if you download the plugin for Bing Ads Intelligence, there are reports that you can run there.
Yeah, I've run those. They're not
what you want.
They're not
So
getting, no.
in the UI, there's the campaign planner that'll do it for you, and then also in the UI is the insights. What's it called? It's on the tip of my tongue. I can show you on my account if you want afterwards. You can pop up. There's basically two new things that we built into the UI that'll help you do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to have to end it there. So slide decks are available on SEMpdx.org or on SlideShare. It sounds like 2015 slides, password SEMpdx15. Please complete your SEMpdx survey for a chance to win SearchFest tickets for next year. Next up, we'll all be heading back upstairs for the afternoon keynote with Jonathan Coleman. And that's about it. I just want to thank our Ability, who sponsored this track, And please give a round of applause for our speakers.